Firstly, welcome back everybody. Apologies for the delay in releasing this video. I wanted to have enough content to show you some progress. We left off clearing this top garage area. I'd managed to collect all of the remains into two piles. I had a piece of large kind of guttering which I strapped to the roof and the other end to the ladder. Most of this remains was soil and small pieces of wood. I could then just shovel in some water and it would flow down the channel and drop into the bamboo forest area to decompose. As you can see, the drainage from this top garage is not very good. Although I put a hole at one end, unfortunately the roof is not sloped to allow the water to drain off. This was basically a whole day's work, just clearing this off of the top here. I won't bore you with the removal of the last part, but finally this top area was cleared. The concrete blocks were the kind of foundation blocks, I guess, from the structure that was here before. Unfortunately, I had an enormous pile of wood from the top and an even bigger pile of former roofing tiles. Here's a close-up of those tiles. Somehow I need to get rid of those. Next up, I needed to make some formers for the concrete base or foundation for the wall extension. I managed to find some plywood with a kind of laminate coating on one side so the concrete shouldn't stick to it. I found some posts like these which I was going to use for the formers to hold the formers in place, but this is what termites do to wood left out for any length of time. Here I managed to put the formers on either side of the concrete. I've got lots of what I call hardcore to line the base. In this image you see the posts in the ground to support it and then the side reinforcement. Was then able to line the bottom with large rocks to give a stable base and also fill the end cap. It was then time to start mixing concrete. I didn't want to invest in a concrete mixer and couldn't really find a local renter. I needed to spray the interior of the formers with this 556. In many other countries it's called WD-40. Anyway, it's now time for the first lot of concrete to go in. The first thing I wanted to do was to actually fill the bottom areas along the edges to make sure it was a good seal and to stop those rocks from moving around a little. Then it was time to start piling in whole wheelbarrows full. Having got a good base, it was then time to measure out and cut the reinforcing bar, or rebar as it's known. Using an angle grinder for this, and making sure that Dash, the dog, didn't want to come near. It drives him crazy, this kind of noise. Here you see the rebar in place. It's wired together to give it a little bit of strength and placed on some scrap pieces of concrete to allow the fresh concrete to kind of flow underneath it and around it properly. Then it's time to just keep on mixing and pouring. And we're finally at the top, just smoothing out the top. I also wanted to put a little bit of texture down the center to give the mortar for the concrete wall blocks something to stick to, really. So only the front and the back edges are actually smooth. And here you can see the texture going in. And here it is. The first piece all done. Just got to let it set and just smooth out a few little bits, as I said, at the front and the back there. The following weekend I came back and of course the concrete had set, but before taking off the formers I wanted to dig out the footings for the gatepost area. Finally done. It was then time for the fun part, removing all of the supports for the concrete. Off was the side supports and the top strap bars. I'm surprised how easily it came apart. It was then time to remove the downposts from the front and back. I then removed the last of the formers. I'm not going to pretend to be a professional, but I was quite proud of it. I thought it came out quite well. I just needed to make some small adjustments, dig out a little bit extra for the base for the gate posts. The formers themselves I could reuse, so with a good clean off I was able to repurpose those, I guess. They did need a bit of adjustment, so I was able to take them apart a bit, make those adjustments and then reuse them later on. Is the former already put in, ready for concrete, and the gate posts. I already have an electric jackhammer, so I bought this tamper to be able to compress the base. It's used for soil and for stone. It's not very clear on the video, but this area is a lot of compacted stone and hard soil, so I'm using some of that just to fill in the space at the front of the concrete, and then using the electric jackhammer and the tamper to compress it. It was then time to use the tamper in the form to give a solid base. The final compacted stone ready for concrete. This area needs reinforcing too, so I'm using this steel mesh and cutting it with the angle grinder so that it can drop into place. And then it was time for concrete again. Lots and lots of concrete. I did actually put another layer on top of this just to bring it right to the top of the formers, and then after about 30 minutes of it beginning to set, I used a hard broom on the surface so that should any water accumulate on there in the winter, at least it won't be slippery and should give a little bit of grip. In the next episode, I hope to show you how this came out and start on building the posts, and also a little bit on the paving, which obviously needs some work. I've cleaned a little bit of it here. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to subscribe, like and comment below, and we'll see you again next time.